Page 34. Wishing You Were Somehow Here Again. Sounds like another love song. It's from the Phantom of the Opera. Gentle piece, a legato piece. It starts out in E flat major, doesn't stay there. It's going to change key signatures. I don't see anything as far as the rhythm that's tricky. It's a lot of eighth notes. The hands are moving around some. I'll point a few things out. So let's talk about some things. In the right hand, you're starting out, okay, remember 3 flats. E flat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's about as tricky as it gets. Right there. You go down to the 3rd line, 3rd measure over. Now you lose all your flats. They got natural signs to erase the flats. Now we're in the key of C major. And you can see by the double bars we're in a different section. Now don't get confused. People get confused, including me. We don't have double bars because we changed key signatures. We have double bars because it's a different section. We just happen to be changing key signatures here. That's all. So now we're in the key of C major, all the white keys. And here, I alternate 3 and 1. If you want to use the same finger for all those E's, it's up to you. But I do a 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. And the next line, up for the D's, I do a 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. It's up to you. Just reach down for that G. Eventually you want to develop a feel for that octave, or it's not an octave, it's a 7th. The octave would be the F. But you want to feel for that. And lift up between each of these phrases. And that's really, there's nothing really tricky going on. You get down to the bottom of page 35, your 3 flats come back. So we go back into the key of E flat major at the top of page 36. It's like it was at the beginning. There. Till you get down to the 3rd line. On the last measure we go back into C major again, only this time there's an 8 VA above it. So instead of here, now it's up here. And that goes on for a few measures till the 4th line down, and the last measure you lose that and you come back down. And then you're there. Then at the bottom of the page, the 3 flats come back. So at the top of page 37, we're back to 3 flats. The notes are different, but you're still back to the 3 flats. And that's about it. There's just nothing tricky going on here in either hand, really. For the left hand, you got a lot of broken chords here at the beginning of page 34. 2nd measure, they got a 5 on that last E flat. You can do 4th finger too. That's fine. 5 or 4, either one, whichever is easier for you. And then in the next measure, they say 4. You can do a 3, 2, 1 if you want. Because I just did a 4 here. And then a reason. 2nd line, they got this 2-1, 2-1 thing going again. I prefer a 3-2. 3-2. So, because you're going to lift up anyway. So now the last measure, they have, I don't like this at all. They have here, and cross over the thumb to get the C. There are times in piano where you have to cross over a black note, or the thumb on a black note to play a white note, but very seldom, and we don't have to do that here. So, yeah. You can do this. You're here, just put the thumb on the F, and then cross over 3rd finger. And you're there. I find that a little less awkward than what they're showing. If you don't want the thumb on the black key, then you put the thumb on the C. You're doing 3-1, 3-1, but and then a 2. I'll leave that up to you. 3rd line down, we're fine. Again, 2nd measure, 3-2. 3-2. Then we go into C major. Now The chords may not be what you think they are, so be careful on the chords. The last line down, the last two measures here. Top of page 35. Again, the chords may not be what you think they are, so watch these notes. They'll trick you. Second line, first measure. That's an F, of course. You knew that. I know you did. And then jump down to the bottom, page 35. Last line. Last measure. It's a G. It's the third ledger line up. It's a G. That's 1, 2, 3, G. See, the chord is this. We're just playing it broken here and then here. In one hand position. We're fine. Then in 36 we go back to the 3 flats like it was at the beginning. I'll leave that up to you. You run into the same fingering challenges you did on page 34. Then on page 36, third line down, the last measure, when it changes into C major and the right hand has gone up an octave here, the left hand gets treble clef. You see that? So now you're up here. Now, when you're at the extremes of the piano, don't lean, because that throws you off balance. It's hard to really control what you're doing when you're off balance. You simply twist your torso and reach. You'd be surprised how far you can reach. I've got a pretty good sized belly, but I can twist my torso and reach these just fine. It's like a music box. And then the left hand, fourth line down, third measure, left hand gets bass clef back. And that is a G. And then the right hand comes back downward, etc. Top of page 37, you're back into 3 flats again, and this first measure. Nah, I don't like this at all. There's a number of times in piano where you have to cover large spans with your hand. Now you're not covering them all at the same time. You're kind of rolling and moving your hand up and down as the notes as you need to. So for instance, I can go here, here. I can cover all of that without having to reach them simply by moving my hand around. I'm not doing this, I'm doing this, sort of. It's this type thing. I'm just kind of rolling the hands. We can do that here. That works very nicely. So this is the first measure on page 37. Here. Now you can go 1, 3, 2. Then you can go 2, 3, 4. And you don't have to do this stuff. They want you to go here and then cross over, second finger on the F. No. No. 5, 3, 2, 1. There's what I recommend. And then the next measure, fourth finger on the B flat is fine for the second. 1. I mean, they're telling you fourth finger on the A flat in the next measure. It's about the same thing. So, yeah. Second line down, second measure, left hand, you're here. That's an A flat. It's one note above the third ledger line. Remember, the third ledger line is a G, so a note above that would be an A, except there's an A flat in the signature, so it's an A flat. So just work out these notes in the left hand, you should be okay. Then that takes us down to the bottom. The last measure. They have this. Crossing over again. I just love that, don't they? Well, there's a couple other possibilities and I like to show them to you, and you can decide, experiment and decide. One way is to do a 1, 3, 2, like I told you above, and then a 1, and then a 4, 2. That's fine. The other way is to let the right hand help it out. Now, there's no rule. Some teachers teach it, but there's no rule. That if the notes are in one staff, that hand has to play those notes. That's not true. It's convenience. The hand plays it out of convenience. Well, if one hand can help me play notes in another staff, I do it, and I do it quite a bit. So in that last measure, if I'm playing the right hand with fourth finger, the left hand, all I have to do is play here, and I'm going to play the F with the right hand, and then I'm going to do the EG with each hand. Just like that. It's real comfortable, works out nicely. So I would encourage you to try these things out. At the beginning, this starts out medium soft, and that's the melody. That's the right hand. So the left hand has to be way soft. So we want to hear that right hand. I don't know how fast moderato, it's in the middle, but I'm kind of playing it kind of slow right now, and that's how I'm feeling it. Maybe later in the day when I've had a glass of wine or two, I might feel it faster, who knows. But I play as I feel. And this is how I feel, so that's what I'm playing. But the point is, play the right hand louder than the left, and right now it's medium soft. Then you get down to the third line, you got a crescendo in the second measure. And it's really the left hand that's going to do this. So bring up to here, because we're only going up to medium loud. That's not a lot. So you can exaggerate it in the left hand. You can come up to a full medium loud. Then let the right hand take over the medium loud, and the left hand comes down then to a soft. Last two measures, third line. So there the right hand is, the left hand just stays soft at that point. In other words, the left hand is coming out a little bit in that one measure for the crescendo, and then it goes back down into the shadows. Then on page 36, you're actually loud. This is like the where we mean business here, I guess. And you're staying loud, and the second line they have that crescendo. Well, don't start the crescendo loud and try and get louder. Come down and then go back up to a loud. It's like in the last measure, the first line, come down a little bit. So it's a, and then you're loud again. Then the last measure you're coming down. Now you're medium soft. And that's the right hand that's medium soft. The left hand has to be really soft. Gets softer. Now we're down to a soft for the music box thing. And that's the right hand that's soft. The left hand has to be really soft. Now you're medium loud. Now you're getting louder. Loud now. You're staying loud pretty much till the end, the bottom, the last line. First measure, come down. Now medium soft, they have a retardando here, and I get softer too, but I'll leave that up to you. There at the end. Now once you have that all worked out, and you're playing it like it's written, then go back and add the pedal. If I pedal this just like they're telling me to, the first, 3.5 lines or so, whatever it is, this is what it sounds like. So, if you're not listening too closely, that's not too bad. But if you're actually listening to it, it's like, I need a drink. So, let's clean it up a little bit. It's just too blurry. First off, I'm not pedaling every measure, the whole measure. At least I'm going to pedal every 2 beats. And I want to hear the phrasing, so I'm going to pedal so I can hear the phrasing. So at the beginning, first 2 measures is every 2 beats here. And on the second measure, I don't pedal the B flat on the 3rd beat. I don't pedal until I play the E flat. I put there. And I lift up with the right hand, or both hands in this case. I want to hear a break in the sound. Again, every 2 beats here. And on the first measure of the second line, I lift the pedal up on when I play the B natural. I don't pedal the last 2 beats. So it's there. And then a break in the sound, it's a new phrase. Every 2 beats. And again, here is similar to the second measure of the first line. I don't pedal until I play the E flat here. So I pedal the first 2 beats. But then I lift, and then I lift. Here you don't have to, here you can legato pedal onto the next one because you have a quarter rest in the right hand. You automatically get the silence you're after. Now they're telling you to pedal 2 beats. And the second measure of the 3rd line, I don't pedal the last 2 beats of the measure. And then carrying on, again I'm going to pedal every 2 beats. Now in the last line, first measure, I don't pedal the first beat. And I don't pedal the last beat because I want to hear the rest in the right hand. In the next measure, every 2 beats. The last measure, every 2 beats, but don't pedal beat 4. So the D is by itself, and then we go on every 2 beats. Well, now they're telling you every 2 beats. And again, the first measure of the second line, every 2 beats, and I don't pedal the last beat. I want to hear the rest. Every 2 beats. On the second measure, every 2 beats. And the last measure, I don't pedal the first beat or the last beat. Just the middle 2 beats is all. 1, 2, lift up. Going on every 2 beats. And I don't pedal the last beat in the 3rd line, second measure. When the right hand has a rest, I lift the pedal up so I can hear the rest. Now last measure you have a choice. You can pedal it like they're saying because you're going to get loud. And you can build up into it, or you pedal every 2 beats but don't pedal the last beat so you hear a rest if you want. Just make sure you're crescendoing here a little bit to prepare for being loud in the next measure. So at the top of page 36, now you're loud, and I'm pedaling this exactly the way I was pedaling before. So just go look at your pencil markings and how you were pedaling it before and put them in here. It's like most of the time it's every 2 beats. But I want to hear a break between the phrasing, and sometimes I don't pedal the running 8th notes and I lift up on the rest, and you know how. The 3rd line down, last measure for the music box, you can pretty much pedal this one. This is okay to blur this part because music boxes are blurry. So I'm just pedaling every measure here. But then in the last measure, the fourth line, I come back into reality and I'm pedaling it. Well, they're saying every 2 beats, that's fine. Now, again, every 2 beats, at the top of page 37. This is kind of a loud part, exciting part, so now third line down, second measure, every 2 beats. I want to hear the rest in the right hand, so it's here. Every 2 beats. You see the 2/4 time in there? The quarter note is steady and it works out. And then at the end, the pedal and the hands come up at the same time. It's a beautiful piece. Now the page turn has a problem. You got to figure out a way to get the page turned without messing up the beat, because the beat goes on. Well, at the bottom of page 35, the right hand is done once you've done that, so you can immediately just go up and turn the page right there. As you then turn the page, remember this is a chord, you're just playing in the left hand, and then you're ready to go on, hopefully.